UFOs and alien encounters have been reported thousands of times throughout the years, but can often be explained one way or another. But there are a few incidents that actually suggest aliens have and still are visiting our planet. These incidents have quickly been explained to be something else by governments around the world, but with thousands of eyewitnesses and statements from former military personnel, suggest that governments around the world, especially the US government, are actively trying to cover up these incidents and keep us from the truth. The Roswell UFO incident. In early July 1947, a man named Mac Brazel rode out to check his sheep after a stormy night. When he was riding his horse, he discovered some unusual debris scattered across a field. Mac Brazel gathered some pieces of the debris and rode home. After showing the unusual debris to his friends and neighbors, Mac Brazel contacted Sheriff. Sheriff Wilcox thought that the debris might be connected to the military and contacted authorities at the Roswell Army Airfield. Within hours, the military closed the field and apparently discovered some sort of flying craft. The craft was then transported to Roswell Army Airfield. The media soon released headlines saying that the military had recovered a UFO from a ranch. Colonel William Blanchard, commander of the 509th Bomb Group, which were assigned to recover the flying craft, issued a press release stating that the wreckage of a crashed disc had been recovered. But just hours after the press release, General Roger Ramey, commander of the 8th Air Force, issued another press release claiming that Commander Colonel William Blanchard had mistaken a weather balloon crash for a crashed disc. A man named Glenn Dennis, who worked as a mortician at the Ballard Funeral Home. Dennis received several phone calls from an officer at the airfield, questioning him about his recommendations for the preservation of bodies that had been exposed to the elements for several days. Dennis became curious and he visited the airfield's hospital, but was escorted from the building at the second he arrived. He later got contact with a nurse from the base that had apparently been present during an autopsy performed on several small non-human bodies. The nurse gave Dennis several drawings of how the aliens looked like. After his conversation with the nurse was transferred to England. The days following the Roswell incident, almost every witness to the crash wreckage and the military personnel that recovered the wreckage was transferred or just disappeared. This led to suspicions among the press and the citizens that the government had deliberately covered up a real UFO crash. Many military personnel that had been involved one way or another with the incident came forth and told what they had experienced in interviews and books. In 1979, Jesse Marshall, a military personnel who had been assigned to recover the craft, was interviewed. Jesse claimed that the metal-like materials scattered all over the field would not burn and that it weighs nothing. The material was apparently as thin as the tin foil in a pack of cigarettes and that it would not bend, even after they hit it with a 16-pound sledgehammer. The craft also had some sort of symbols similar to Egyptian hieroglyphs covering the craft's surface. Officers who have been present during the time of the incident have supported Jesse Marshall's claims. Edgar Mitchell. Edgar Mitchell was one of the astronauts aboard Apollo 14 and the sixth person to walk on the moon. Mitchell believes that around 90% of all the unidentified flying objects, or other words UFOs, that have been recorded since the 1940s are visitors from other planets. In April 19, 1996, NBC had an interview with Edgar Mitchell. He claimed that there have been many alien encounters around the world since the 1940s, and the evidence to suggest they are real are very strong. But governments around the world are actively covering up these encounters and the existence of alien beings such as the Roswell incident. He further claimed that the US government had UFOs that provided sonic engineering secrets. Late in 2004, Mitchell said in an interview with Petersburg Times that the US government had recovered alien bodies which they are studying and conducting experiments on. In several other interviews between 2008 and 2015, Mitchell claimed that the Roswell incident was real and that human has been contacted several times but the government had hidden the truth for 60 years. Mitchell claims that he had received confirmation about his claims from an unnamed intelligence officer at the Pentagon. NASA later replied to Mitchell's comments and stated, "NASA is not involved in any sort of cover-up about alien life on this planet or anywhere else in the universe. Dr. Mitchell is a great American, but we do not share his opinions on this issue." Mitchell later told in an interview with Mirror Online in 2015, that UFOs were present during a nuclear weapon test in the White Sand Desert in New Mexico during the Cold War. I have spoken to many Air Force officers who worked at these silos during the Cold War. They told me UFOs were frequently seen overhead and often disabled their missiles. He recounted to the Mirror. Other officers from bases on the Pacific coast told me their missiles were frequently shot down by alien spacecrafts. He explained that the aliens wanted to know about the US military capabilities and that it was aliens that helped create peace on Earth. So what do you believe? Did aliens really help create peace on Earth? And have the governments kept this information from the public? Let me know in the comments what you think. The battle for Los Angeles. The US has just entered World War II, and many Americans were expecting another attack from Japanese fighter planes after the Pearl Harbor attack. In the morning of February 2nd, 1942, in Los Angeles, military sirens could be heard. Many people went outside their homes expecting to see Japanese fighter planes, but they were so wrong. It wasn't Japanese fighter planes in the sky, but an enormous UFO. The giant UFO was soon lit up by the Army's gigantic spotlights, and military aircraft were sent to confront the UFO. Soon the fire from the military aircrafts and the anti-aircraft artillery could be seen and heard. The military was determined to bring down the large object, and they used all weapons they had at their disposal. The shells would hit the UFO, but would do no damage, and then fall to the ground. Many were injured, and there was even reports of death from falling shells. Eyewitnesses described the sight of the UFO like a surreal hanging magic lantern. The large UFO moved into more lighted areas, and the view of the UFO became a lot better. It was at this moment that this classic UFO photograph was taken. On the photograph can see gigantic spotlights and trace the fire from the anti-aircraft artillery. The UFO then moved over Long Beach and then disappeared to never be seen again. Thousands of people came forth and told the press what they had seen that morning. They sent fighter planes up, and I watched them in groups approach it and then turn away. They were shooting at it, but it didn't seem to matter. It was huge. It was just enormous, and it was right over my house. I had never seen anything like it in my life. It was like the 4th of July, but much louder. They were firing like crazy, but they couldn't touch it. Just a few hours after the incident, Frank Knox, Secretary of the Navy, told the press that the incident was a false alarm due to anxiety and war nerves. The Army later said that they believed that the unidentified craft might have been commercial airplanes used as a psychological warfare campaign to generate panic, but many eyewitnesses say that the unidentified craft could have been commercial airplanes due to its enormous size, and that it wouldn't take any damage from the military aircrafts and the anti-aircraft artillery. They believed that it was a cover-up by the government and that the unidentified craft was actually a UFO. Area 51. Area 51 was first opened in 1955 and is a 6 miles wide and 10 miles long secret military base located about 90 miles north of Las Vegas. Somewhere on the grounds is a large airbase that the US government will not discuss, and it is said that the normal structures going down 30 to 40 stories below the surface are built deep into the desert floor. People that work on the base have taken an oath of total secrecy for the rest of their lives, and they are flown in every morning aboard unmarked planes with black windows. The area around the military base is covered with hundreds of sensors and listening devices to detect trespassers. People that do not appear to be in the military patrols the road, and they do often wear desert camouflage. They are authorized to use deadly force on people who insist on trespassing. Area 51 is said to have crashed UFOs, which the US government has recovered from around the world. For example, the UFO from the Roswell incident. The UFOs are being tested to learn how they work and then create new weapons for the US Army. In the early 1990s, a man named Bob Lazar claims to have been stationed in Area 51 and that he actually worked on alien spacecrafts. Area 51 apparently has 9 UFOs that researchers are trying to figure out how they work. Bob Lazar also claims that he was given information about the involvement by extraterrestrial beings with our planet for the past 10,000 years. The beings allegedly originated from the first and second planets within the Zeta Reticuli star system and are therefore referred to as the Zeta Reticulans. These beings were referred to as the kids within the program. After Bob Lazar told the public about Area 51, all his records of employment and evidence of his attending school disappeared. Another man named Jared too, that apparently also worked at Area 51, confirms Bob Lazar's story. Jared is a 70-year-old retired engineer, and he says that he had been given permission from his former employers to speak to the public about his experiences in order to help prepare the American public about the truth of alien existence. He claims that he worked for 30 years designing reproductions of alien flying saucers. Jared also says that he actually saw alien beings at Area 51, helping the researchers. On March 5th, 2013, a former CIA agent that only had a few months left to live revealed in an interview at a secret location everything he knew about Area 51. He shows many pictures of what apparently is alien beings and UFOs, and he even claims that he was good friends with the aliens and that they communicate by telepathy. NASA cuts ISS live video feed. On April the 30th, 2014, the high-definition Earth viewing was activated on board the International Space Station. It allows anyone with an internet connection to watch the Earth and its surroundings live from space. Late in the same year, a mysterious object that looked like a UFO could be seen hovering over the Earth. Just minutes after the object was discovered, NASA cuts the live feed, saying that they are experiencing technical difficulties and it is actually not uncommon for the live feeds to be cut once in a while. But the timing of the technical difficulties was really suspicious, leaving many people believing that NASA cut the live feed to hide the UFO and try to cover it up. Many UFO watchers say that this proves that NASA deliberately tried to hide what they believe are regular sightings of UFO around Earth's orbit. Scott Waring, a UFO watcher, was not surprised that the live feed was cut at the exact moment when the object appeared. Scott later posted the following: NASA did it again. A UFO shows up on live public internet cam and NASA takes it offline. Who here is surprised by this? If you are new here. UFOs are caught by researchers on a weekly basis, and NASA does cut the line when they catch them. NASA later announced that they would have to shut down the high-definition Earth viewing live feed due to budget cuts, which Scott Waring said the following: NASA say they will shut down the live public cams due to budget cuts, even though the Canada company selling the photos will pay NASA a crap load of cash yearly, so the budget cuts excuse is a lie. So do you believe that governments around the world are deliberately covering up these supposedly alien encounters? Let me know in the comments what you think.
It's a mess, but hey, don't even worry about it.